Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Life of the Young Funeral Professional, and thank you so much for joining us as we kick off our women's edition of the Life of the Young Funeral Professional. We are celebrating women this month, and I know that Women's History Month was in March, but because of Mother's Day being in May, we're going to shine a light on her story to build a brighter future. And what better way to do that than to bring on a very nice young lady who is just getting her start in funeral service. And we want to shine light not just on our young people, we'll also have some trailblazers who are doing tremendously well in the industry this year. This year, this lifetime, all of the above. I am so ecstatic to have the lineup that we have this month, and I'm so grateful for the platform and what it is becoming and how we are just progressing and growing. I want to thank all of our viewers and our supporters who continue to support the show and support the platform as we're growing through our growing pains. Once again, some of you may recognize me from a previous episode. My name is Courtney Hempill. I am a licensed funeral arranger for the state of Nevada. I currently serve families at Giddens Memorial Chapel back home in Las Vegas. I'm also a flight attendant, so I'm all around the world at this present moment. But today, I am your host. I'm also the brand ambassador / creative director for the Life of the Young Funeral Professionals platform. And I am just excited to be spending my Monday evening with you all on Cinco de Mayo. But yes, we are so excited to have with us Miss Taylor May, who hails from Bushline Funeral Home in Birmingham, Alabama. She'll be joining us in just a few minutes. Want to take a moment to shout out our founder and our visionary who is behind the entire platform. He could not join us today because he is home. He needs to take care of himself and make sure that he is well for the rest of the future episodes. And so, Raheem, we are sending our love and thoughts to you and hope that you are resting like me and Tiffany told you to. Amen. Want to make sure that everybody also, while you all are tuning in, want to make sure that you're following us on our social media pages. We are active on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We also have an email address in case, but that'll be popping up a little bit later. But want to make sure that you're connecting with us. So this is going to be the best way to stay up to date with what we have going on with the program. We'll have with the platform, we'll have a lot of events and things that are coming down the pipeline that I think you all would really enjoy and we're really going to enjoy taking part in. And so we want you to be kept abreast about what's going on with the Life of the Young Funeral Professional. Sounds good? So without further ado, I'm going to bring on our guest, Miss Taylor May, and I'm going to allow her to share her story and to introduce herself. So hello, how are you doing?
Hey everyone. Hi, how are you, Courtney?
Doing quite all right. Just got off of a flight last evening, and so I'm just kind of getting myself together. But I am so excited that you have joined us today. Thank you so much for your yes. Um,
Yes, thank you for having me. Thank you again for thinking about little old me. So, hey,
you're,
I am delighted to be here.
you're very welcome. So, of course, as Raheem has stated in past episodes, our conversation will be kind of just that, just a conversation, kind of introduce yourself. But I want to allow you to take this time currently to just share a little bit about your background. So share a little bit about the firm that you're with, how long you've been working in the industry, just a little bit of your history, on how you kind of got started in funeral service, if you will.
All right. Well, I am Taylor. Like he said, I do work for Bushland Funeral Home in Birmingham, Alabama. I have been an apprentice in the funeral industry since 2021. I am no longer an apprentice, and now I am on the office administration side at Bushland Funeral Home. I did leave and I came back. So I have enjoyed my tenure with working within the funeral industry. I've always learned something, learned a lot, and yes, it's been a ride for me. But hey, I'm working on getting that license, and that is the end goal for me to get that license in the end. So that's my ultimate prize for me.
Yes, indeed. And a little birdie told me that you have mortuary service kind of running through your blood. Is that
So just a little bit, just a little bit. Yes, I do have family and friends that works in funeral service. Just like at Bushline, my aunt Kate. are Lily and Kate Bushelon. You know, she's my boss, but that's like TT, that's Auntie. And
Hey,
then I also have another aunt named Nicole Slater. She's a general manager at another firm here in Birmingham, and she's been around just as long as Kate has been around. So they have been pillars in my life and examples and people that I look up to, and would love to be their mini-me, be just like them in life. And so they paved the way for a lot of young people, not just myself. So I would love to follow their footsteps.
gotcha. Okay. And that actually kind of rolls into my next question, that talks about kind of telling us about people that you look up to that inspire you within this industry. So, kind of take us into the relationship between you and your aunts and how that's kind of fostered your passion for the industry.
Yes. So, with me and my family and my friends, so with the Bushelon side, like I said, I've known them all of my life. Our families have intertwined, and that's how that makes us kind of family. But Kay and Miss Bushelon, they have just always been a helping hand to not only myself but to the community and to others. And even from a little girl, before I even really knew what funeral service was, and I used to always be with my grandmother with them. I used to always say, I want to be like Kate when I grow up. I've always said, I want to be like Kate when I grow up. And so to now be in that position where I'm following her footsteps and being her mini me, it's so rewarding to me. And then also with Aunt Nicole, she's been around for a long time, and she is just a breath of fresh air. She likes to be in a room that she walks in, but she knows her job and she does it well. And she's a great woman to look up to, and she has large shoes to fill. And so she's also instilled in me different character traits as just being a woman and also in this industry. They both have, honestly, they both have instilled in me various character traits. I'm sorry, on this industry, on how to carry myself, and just women in the industry in general.
Gotcha. Okay.
Hmm.
Gotcha. And they are trailblazed, and I've had the opportunity to meet Miss Bushlawn. I haven't had the opportunity to meet Miss Slater, I don't believe, but Miss Bushlawn definitely is one of our community trailblazers down there in the Birmingham area, who is paving the way for many young women to come after her. And she's done an amazing job walking in the footsteps of her father, who blazed several trails who is a Birmingham legend. And so we are very grateful for the Bushlawn family and everything that they do serving out there, in their Birmingham, Alabama area. Um,
Hmm.
so when we talk about like things about the industry, right? What are some things that you've noticed that kind of like boost your morale? Like when you think about funeral service that says, hey, that's something that I want to expound upon, and that's something that doesn't get enough attention. What are some of those things that in the industry that catch your attention?
For me, one of those things would be top-notch service. One thing I take pride in, I know my firm takes pride in, we try to give top-notch service to each one of our families. Every family is different, so each service is personalized.
Mhm.
I do take pride in that, and then also we love to receive our positive feedback from our community to let us know that we are doing things right, and that the community does. They see us, they're rooting for us, and just like we're here for them, they're here for us as well. I also take pride in helping families heal. I understand that that's a what am I trying to say? That is a hard time, and it takes a unique and a special person to be there for somebody in that time. So, me and grief, we kind of had our backs, and so that makes it more personal for myself. To be there for other people. I don't have all the answers, but anything that I can do to lend a helping hand, and anything that my firm can do to lend a helping hand to make this journey and this road easier and lighter, then by all means, hey, just call us and we're there.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a very beautiful thing when you can meet the families on that level, because many people have not been on that side of the table. And so it's harder to understand kind of where they're at. But for those of us that have been sitting across the table from ourselves, we can definitely get right there and we can meet them and we can get some very beautiful things done,
That's
on
true.
behalf of their loved ones. So that's a very beautiful quality to have. And much to that respect, what are some things that you've noticed that are kind of like will be counted as like a hardship within the industry? Some things that you kind of notice and kind of make you wince a little bit.
First and foremost, I would say the emotional toll People think that, I know I hear the saying all the time, it takes a special type of person to deal with the funeral industry. Granted, they are true, but the emotional toll that the funeral industry takes on us, and even if you're licensed, not licensed, or just an office worker, or even just the people that clean up around the funeral home, it takes a toll on us to be around, grieving families, because we not only do we sympathize with you, we empathize with you in your time of need at this moment. And also, I tell people all the time, in this industry, there's no days off. And so working those irregular work hours, like typically, okay, I could say, granted, I work 9 to 5, but I have been at a firm where it wasn't a 9 to 5, and it was, hey, this weekend you on call. We rotated the weekends for being on call. Hey, like, it's a very demanding job. So I tell people all the time, if you don't have a passion for this, do not do it. Don't do it for no fame. Don't do it for no money. Don't do it for a name. Do it because this is truly in your heart to do. And one of the downfalls, like I said, is the emotional toll and the irregular work hours. And then also, I say I've heard a lot of people say they want to come into the funeral industry because of the name and the fame that comes with it, and that grinds my gears. It's so much more to that. It's so much more to this industry than the stigma that comes along with it. And so, I'm not gonna say I brush those people off that say that, but I just kind of look at them like, okay, okay, that's why you want to come in the industry. Okay, because I mean, everybody's story is different, and life has its way of maneuvering. Okay,
Mhm.
and so certain things happen to certain people, which makes them want to become into the funeral industry. Then some people are just thrown into it by default of, hey, my family owns this, so I'm just naturally here. And then some people just actually have a drive to want to do that, and so I feel like people appreciate it better when they have a drive to want to do that, because I've also been told, don't have a career that's more like don't have a job that's not a career. You want to go to a job every day that you're eager to go to work every day. And
Mhm.
certain people come and do this for the wrong reasons, and you'll quickly see they're not around that long, because this wasn't where their heart is. And so I don't recommend people to do it, because when I say it's no off days,
There's
it's
no
no off
off day.
days. Like even with me sometimes being 9 to 5, my phone still rings. Hey, can you go do this? Can you go do this? Can you change this? Can you help me with this? And I'm honored to. Some days I might roll my eyes and be like, but I'm off the clock. But at the end of the day, I know in the end that reward to their family is them a sigh of relief of being relieved that we have lightened this burden on them and made this road a little bit
Yeah.
lighter for you. We won't take the pain away. We can't bring mama, sister, auntie, daddy, whomever your loved one is back, but we can help you along the way. And that's what I love that. I love to hear the families come back in and just thank us, and say how pleased they were with our services. And
Most
that gives us the fire and the drive to keep going, because some days it's rough.
And
It's
that's one
rough.
of the things that I've always said too is that if the family could walk away from me, not necessarily smiling, but more at peace with what they've gone through, I've done my job for the day.
I've
And
done my job. Yes.
if they walk away from me and they upset, well, now I got to figure out a way to, make that right. So that way we can, because you only get one shot to serve a family for
Right.
the death of that specific loved one.
Right.
And how you handle them in such a sensitive time, it speaks volumes to them. So they'll remember. People will that nobody remembers what we say, what we wore, but they will remember how we acted and how we made them feel on the
They
day
will
of the
remember that service. And I tell people all the time, one of my goals is to make sure the family keeps coming back. They understand that we're here to service you. We're here to cater to you. So we want, even though we hate the terms in which we're meeting, but we want you to come back. When this
Mhm,
when grief is at your when death is at your door once more again, from whomever the next family member be, we
mhm.
are here to help you. You know what I'm saying? So I try to give my best foot forward every day in that office, working alongside my colleagues at the office, to just doing the best that I can to give the most positive attitude. And even when, like, sometimes when you have certain deaths, like I said, that emotional toll, you have those certain deaths, like, oh, children make they break my heart. And I try to be so strong in front of the families, but it's been times where I go behind closed doors, like, I really can't believe this happened.
Mhm.
But I have to put on that strong face and be there for their family in that time of need, because that's what they came to us to do, to be there for them. So
There are definitely
Yeah.
certain services where I've had to step in the prep room, step in the casting room, step in the restroom where we had a church and get myself together, have my little 2 seconds. But at the end of the day, it's all about service, and they
Yes,
remember
yes,
everything
yes.
about how you handle them. But that is an amazing thing. So during our one of our calls together, we talked about kind of finding balance between your life and the industry. So what are some things that you do to kind of make sure that you can separate funeral home and Taylor's personal life? And then what are some things that you're working on outside of the industry, if you don't mind expounding on that too?
Sure. So with that, I kind of feel like that kind of depends on your role.
Hmm.
So like depending on the role that you play in the funeral industry, kind of dictates that balance. So I know typically like for men, they're more versatile in the funeral industry than us women because they're more hands-on. They're the ones in the back have to do the dressing and all that stuff, the casket and all that. But like as for me, I am a little versatile, but my 9 to 5 day to day is strictly office business. So how I just balance it, 9 to 5, I'm at work. I do what I have to do. I'm always on call. My phone is gonna always be open and available for when the funeral home calls me for anything, regardless of what it may be. But I like I said, I've reached that role now to where I'm just administration. So sometimes after 5, I can get that leeway to relax, but sometimes I don't have that leeway to relax. But like I said, I've had those times in the past where I've worked at other firms and it was my weekend to work. So it's like, okay, I have to arrange my life around my schedule. And then sometimes being on call is no arranging your life around schedule because you never know when that call is going to come in. So it can be kind of frustrating at times, especially when you're young and you're a millennial. You kind of still want to be outside and want to do all this other stuff. But when you have that calling, you have that passion, you have that drive. And if you're like me, I'm gonna pick up that phone. If I know it's something work related and something needs to be done, this partying and waiting, it can wait. And it'll be here when I get done. You know what I'm saying? It'll be right here when I get done, and we'll be back.
Most definitely, because I've definitely left parties, clubs, you name trips, you name it.
I have postponed trips
Yeah,
because, yeah,
I
yeah,
had to do the same thing. Last year, I had to work through my birthday and cancel everything I had. I had an entire day planned, but the family needed us that day, and so
right.
it's one of those things where it's a lot bigger than yourself. It's a lot bigger than what you have planned. It's a lot bigger than how we structure our lives sometimes because you only get one shot to serve a family, and death only happens once. And the fact that they've called, it's an honor to serve. So yeah, I move. There are some people that have issue moving stuff around and moving schedules around. I don't. If a family need me, I
Yeah.
just enjoyed serving on the other day for a family friend. And if need be, if I have time, especially now with my new job, if I have time, I'm gonna make that time to be there and be available for them.
And see, and also I'm gonna say this with where I am working in the funeral industry. Oh, that's weird. Okay, and so to the outside, I don't go around just letting everybody know what I do. Because
Mhm.
I don't want to be looked at as like that outcast. So this girl's weird. She deal with dead people, whatever. So I try not to have that stigma
Yeah.
on me when I'm out of business and I'm out on my leisure time. But like I said, if that phone rings and it's anybody from my firm that's calling me, I'm gonna
Mhm.
pick up that phone. Hey, let me step over to the side real quick. Let me see what's going on because you just never know. And
Most
this is what I signed up for. This is something that I chose, so I want to be all in what I chose to do and not halfway do it.
Most definitely. And not only what you chose to
Yes,
do, but what chose you to. Miss Ashbass said we can be outside, but when that phone rings, we gotta go.
gotta go. Hey,
Don't you know it? Don't
Ash, gotta
you know
go.
it?
Like that's it.
That's it. When that phone ring, we out. We up out of there. Denzel McDonald says, I'm an upcoming funeral director. I'm working on my associate's degree in funeral services. We wish you the best of luck on your
Yes,
journey.
best of luck to you,
Stick with
Denzel.
it. Stick
Stick
with
with
it.
it.
Stick with it.
It's rewarding in the end. I know it's gonna get tired, it's gonna get frustrating. This is coming from somebody who has taken the classes twice
Mm-hmm.
at Jefferson State and dropped out both times.
Mm-hmm.
One year I went the whole course through and dropped out. The second year I went halfway through and I dropped out. So my advice to you, Mr. Denzel, stick with it. Like, stick with it because it's so rewarding in the end, and I promise you, you won't regret it. But I am proud of you and keep going.
Most definitely. We at the Life of the Young Funeral Professionals are proud of you too. And we can't wait to catch up with you.
Yes.
May feature you in a future episode for sure. So Ms. Taylor, tell me kind of where do you see the industry going as a whole? Because it's easy to see things for the present moment as they're happening, but I believe it's also important to kind of envision where we would like to end up as a whole, as an industry. So what are some of the places that you see the funeral industry going?
If I'm being honest, I believe that the funeral industry is more leaning so towards the cremation.
Mm,
Cremation rates have went up tremendously over the years. And it's even here in my city, cremation rates have gone up. Like, I have seen so many crematories within certain funeral homes around my city pop up, and I'm just like, oh wow, like this is becoming more common, and it's also becoming more common in the black in the black community, because traditionally us blacks, we like to be buried or put
mm,
in a mausoleum. We do the typical embalming and burial process here where I am. It may be different in other states, but now like I said, the cremation rates have went up, and then it's even went as far as you know the cemeteries are not having enough room,
mhm.
and I've even started to see a little bit of the green burials kind of increase just a little bit. It's not as common down here to see that on the day to day, but I have seen a little bit more of those than what I have seen in the past.
Mm,
So a green burial may be one of the ways, the trajectory of this industry, but I will say I think in the long run, we may be doing a lot more cremating. And I also see something about that aqua cremation. I'm not
mm.
very familiar with it, but
Heard
I
of it.
do know we have a firm here in Alabama, not in Birmingham, but in Alabama. It's a firm here that offers the aqua cremation. I even said myself, I want to go visit that firm a little bit to learn a little bit more about it, and see what's the process and the details that it has with it. But yeah, overall, I do feel like the industry will be leaning more towards the cremation side because cemeteries are filling up, and the price inflations on the cemetery costs are going up due to the fact that they're limited on space. And so, with that, it just the other option would be cremation.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
much to the aquamation perspective, there are two firms back home in Las Vegas where I live that offer that technology to the community, and it is definitely one of those things where I do see that taking off very quickly if it gets in front of the right family. It's very
Right.
option back home too, but it's definitely very interesting. I know it's kind of like taboo and it's new territory because
Right. Right. Right.
Big Mom and them didn't cremate. My great grandmother told me I wasn't allowed to burn her. And then there are other
Okay.
family members that said, go ahead and cremate. And then now there's this new technology that's coming out that's more sustainable for the environment. And I do believe that it's something that as the community begins to get educated on it, it will definitely take off. And as the states come to bring that more legal at their forefront. Uh,
Right, because then I think I heard something about the aqua cremation is more eco-friendly too with the
yes, it is
environment and stuff. It doesn't have those harsh chemicals that release in the air versus with the actual cremation, right?
definitely
Yeah,
correct.
so I could see that taking a peak in the industry, but I'm gonna be honest, I really don't see that excelling that just actual cremation, but I do see that going on the rise somewhere,
Gotcha.
yeah.
So, coming from somebody who works in a legacy funeral home, a funeral home that's been around for ages and generations, what are some things that you think that funeral homes can do to kind of prepare for that sort of longevity to be able to serve through different generations?
Well, first and foremost, it all boils back down to that service. Service is still going to be number one in this conversation. Um, but see, like with my firm, they're family. Like everybody is family. Hence how we even got two other firms by the brother.
Mm,
So there's the service spoke for itself. How do you treat your customers? Um, you know, People try to do the price gauging, but I say you pay for what you get. And so with us, you're gonna pay the top dollar. but you're going to get top-notch service, and we take pride in that. And that is just something that, we offer our best at all times. We don't, is no half stepping or anything of that nature. So yeah, your service, I just feel like it goes all the way back to your customer service, and just making sure you have a reputable team. And even outside of being professional, when you're in the streets or outside or doing whatever, your reputation and how you carry yourself will still make people want to gravitate towards you, even on a personal level, a friendship level, and on a professional level as well, to just kind of maneuver towards you in time of need for, their needs.
For sure, most definitely. So as somebody that's like aspiring to take a substantial role within this industry, because I do believe that our generation, they're under such great tutelage from a lot of these firms, that we're being put in position to take the industry to the next level. Where do you see yourself within the next few years? Like once you matriculate through the licensing process, once you get to kind of being able to retire Miss Kate and Miss Lavore, where do you see yourself as you move forward in the industry?
Well, like you said, my end goal right now is to get licensed. First and foremost, that is the number one thing that I definitely want to do, is be licensed. My long-term goal in my life is to own my own funeral home. Eventually, I do have a desire and plan to own. But until then, I feel like I'm going to be grounded where I am, and I'm going to stay there and absorb as much knowledge and wisdom that I can from the fabulous people around me, because I have literally the blue books right here in front of me on what to do, what not to do, and how to be successful in this industry. So, absorb everything that I can from them and start a legacy on my own, because at the end of the day, I'm not a Bushelon. I'm a Crawford. My last name is Crawford. So, I want to start my own tradition, my own firm, and then I would be a first generation of my family, of my immediate family, on doing this, and break generational curses within my family, and bring longevity to my family, and just excel in that way. So yeah, long term, where I see me going is first and foremost finishing school. I'm also getting back in school for my criminal justice degree. So I don't know exactly what I would want to do with my criminal justice degree, but I do want to have that as something to fall back on. But also once I get, just go on and get my license as well. And the next step for me after getting my license is working towards owning my own funeral home and helping the people after me. And even if there's some people, along the way that wants my help, I'm always a phone call, text, or inbox, whatever way, or needing advice. And if I don't know the answers, I'm gonna try to connect them to somebody that do know the answers. I'm not gonna gatekeep. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. I'm not gonna gatekeep nothing. If it's some information and it's valuable and worth sharing, then by all means I'm going to share it, because I want to see us all win. It's not just about me. I want to make sure we all win. It's teamwork. I feel like people work better in teams, and sometimes people need that extra push. And if I can be that extra push to somebody, by all means, I'll be that push and help them along the way.
Most definitely. And and that's a very good thing, as far as like helping out. And I know that you have the dreams to have your own. And the Bible actually talks about kind of taking care and being found trustworthy of taking care of someone else's stuff before you can be given your own, before you matriculate to that. And so that's a very beautiful thing, to be trusted in that space. So that way, one day when you get your own, not only do you know what you're doing, but you know how to steward well over it. So that's a very beautiful quality to have.
Right, and I take pride in the people that I have around me to learn from. The loved ones that I do have around to learn from. They are statues and pillars here in this industry. So I feel like who else better to learn from? And I know they won't stir me wrong. And working up under them for so long, some of this stuff is just being instilled in me just by naturally just being around them. So. And like I said, when it comes down to helping somebody else who has similar dreams or the same hopes and dreams as me, I'll share the same wisdom.
Yeah, most definitely. And it's the main vision behind this platform too. We're building on it because we want to make sure that we shed light on what we do as young people as we begin to matriculate. And many of us will be directors in a very short time. And so, like you say, any way that we're able to help out the people that are coming up underneath us and setting that example, and showing them how to serve first before you're seen, it's going to be an amazing thing as we come into the future years of this industry. But
Mm-hmm.
definitely wanted to kind of shed light. We're talking about the young people that are coming up underneath us, right? Can you share some encouraging words to our younger generation as they're matriculating? A lot of them have great potential. I mentioned in the episode that I was interviewed in. Just kind of shedding light and giving them advice on kind of what to expect, but also kind of what to keep in mind.
Right. So to anybody that is in this, wanting to come into this industry or, have a liking or inquiring mind about this industry, I say first and foremost, recognize if this is your calling, or just recognize that this is just a field that you want to explore to see if this is for you.
Mhm.
And I feel like that does play a major role in people's success in this career, because if this is your calling, you're going to be all the way in. But if this is just something that you're just trying to put your foot in to see the water hot or cold, or to see if this is, what I really want to do, take some time and really marinate on this to see if this is what you want to do, because you won't give it your all. And I tell anybody, if this is what you want to do, make sure you're giving it 105%, not even just 100, 105. Try to always go over and beyond for your families, because that's any small thing can be a blessing to anybody. You might not think it's that big of a deal, but to this grieving family over here, even if it's just a simple hug when they come in the door, you never know, they probably needed that hug. Just shining light and being a pillar in this industry is very imperative to me. This industry is full of opportunities, so keep your eyes and your ears open at all times. Be willing to learn, be willing to be taught. Anybody that feel like they want to come in the industry, oh, I know it all, or I know this person, they told me this, I told you, you're not gonna make it far. And I'm just gonna be honest, because if you can't be taught, you can't be led, you're not open and willing to learn new ways and new routes are actually the right way, the legal way how to do things, then ain't nobody gonna want to deal with you,
Hold on, go back. Say that. You said a very.
the legal way, the legal way, the legal way. If you're not teachable and you don't want to, learn, and you just feel like, oh, I'm big dog and I can just do all of this, you'll learn quickly. A lot of people ain't gonna want to deal with you. And
Mhm.
a lot of people probably ain't even gonna want you around their firm, because you might be the reason why the board might be here. And we don't even know what you'd have been and did, okay? Like, So be teachable, like I said, keep your eyes open, keep your ears open. But one thing I will say, and this is coming from somebody who don't care a lot of times what she say, keep your mouth closed. Keep your mouth closed. I cannot express, and I need to be saying that to myself,
Mhm.
because I do have a fly by night mouth, but I have grown. Thank God for growth. Um, but you can't repeat everything that somebody tell you. Certain things in this industry, I would say you listen, but you don't. Everything don't require a response either, and that's something else I had to learn in this industry.
Mhm.
People gonna say, they're gonna talk, they're gonna do whatever, but everything does not require a response every time. Let them talk.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, like I said, this industry is full of opportunities and it's constantly evolving. And just always be open to learn and develop new skills.
Hmm.
Like because I just feel like you can learn something from everybody. And I tell people, you can even learn something from the janitor. Do not discredit nobody because they're not where you are today. Because you never know what tomorrow. That's why I love tomorrow. Because you just never know. Tomorrow they could be up here and you beneath them, okay?
Listen, you about to take me right on in, but
Okay, so just don't shun down upon nobody. Keep your mouth closed, your eyes open, your ears open. Take in as much. I consider like being an apprentice, like being a sponge. You're absorbing
mhm.
everything, the good, the bad. The pros and the cons. You're gonna absorb everything, but I feel like you gotta have that mentality to know how to decipher it. To say, okay, I don't need to take this trait with me. or I do need to carry this trait with me. You know, in this industry, the people that surround you should lead by example. And based off you trying to matriculate on which two to take with you or what not to take with you, your leaders should be examples of certain things you should and should not do and how they carry themselves. And just I can't stress it enough. Be teachable. If you're not teachable and you talk more than what you talk more than learning, you will have a hard time in this industry. You really will. But
Definitely.
I do love the industry with everything I got. Lord knows I love this industry. Hence why I stayed in it so long. Just find your niche, find your people, and find you a firm and be grounded in that firm. Every day is not going to be a good day. You're going to have rainy days and you're going to have sunny days. But even in the midst of the storm, you still got to hold your head above the water. Do not drown in sorrow. Do not drown in defeat of feeling like, okay, well, I had a bad day or maybe I had a bad week. It's okay.
Yeah.
We all have bad days. We all have bad weeks sometimes. It's life. You got to roll with the punches, but it's how you bounce back. And correcting those wrongs and fixing the things that you messed up maybe the day before or the week before that got you down. When you fix it, you feel twice as better, and knowing that you stayed the course and did not give up, and that reward in the end is going to be very, the ultimate dream of what you're aiming for. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, indeed. Because as long as you steward well over it, he will make your name great.
Yes.
I really want to say that we definitely appreciate you because
Thank
you
you.
dropped a lot of gems in it, and you are a hidden gem in the Birmingham area. I'm going to have to call Miss Kate and ask her why she's been hiding this beautiful soul. But is there anything else that you kind of want to shed light on, or anything else that you want to touch on before we kind of end our time here today?
No, I just want everybody to stay encouraged, even the ones that are licensed, people that are owners, people that's like myself in administration roles, or even the ones that's behind the scenes. Because I'm somewhat behind the scenes, but like now I'm just strictly 9 to 5 administration now. In every blue moon, I go on services. But just stay focused.
Yes.
Remember that service is key. Your reputation means a lot. Um, and just stay positive. Do not give up. And I just wish everybody the best. In all honesty, here in Birmingham, our surrounding funeral homes, and worldwide, I just wish everybody success and blessings over their different ventures and ventures within the funeral industry, because we all could succeed together. It doesn't have to be no friction or anything. We can all come up as one. And I would love to see that the unison of us all sticking together and, catering to grieving families to the best of our ability. So, just stay the course and keep being you. Don't get discouraged. And if anybody wants to talk about anything, I don't have all the answers, but again, if I don't have the answers and I know somebody who will, or who does, and who will shed that light to you, I will be more than happy to send you to that person for the help that you may need. Because when I first came to Apprentice, the help was there and I latched on to it. And I had the same people that have been helping me since 2021 when I first entered school are still in my life today. So, and it's people that don't even live in the state of Alabama that I still have contact with, that helps me on a day-to-day basis or when I have questions. And now some of them have even turned into friends. We've created a bond. And so, just be you. And like I said, always be open to learn and, just have a good and caring spirit.
Yes, indeed. Well,
Yes.
on behalf of the staff of the Life of the Young Funeral Professionals platform, we want to say thank you to Ms.
Thank you.
Kayla, who has just brightened up our entire day. And we want to thank all of our viewers for tuning in. This is not the last time that you will see her. We will do an update later on and we were going to keep up with her as she matriculates through her journey. But on behalf of Raheem, on behalf of Miss Tiffany, on behalf of myself, we are very proud and we are elated that you chose to join us and spend your Monday evening.
Thank you. Thank you all for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. At this time, I would just want to make sure that everyone again takes a moment to follow all of our social media and make sure that you're staying connected with us. And then also want to make a little note, we are searching for our future guests. So if you have anybody that is a rising young undertaker in this industry that you feel should be featured in a future episode, please go ahead and do me a favor and DM us and email us and get in contact with a member of our team, along with the best way to contact the person that you're nominated. And then it may not be somebody that you are kind of suggesting. It could be yourself. If you feel like you have a good story and you would like to talk about it, or if you want to talk about your future in funeral service or your present in funeral service, go ahead and please, man, please, sir, reach out to us, and we would be more than happy to get in contact with you so that way we can make sure that we feature you in a future episode. All right. On behalf of all of us here at the Young Funeral Professional, thank you for joining us, and stay tuned for our next episode as we continue our women's edition of the Life of the Young Funeral Professional. We're going to have a trailblazer possibly next week, and we have a lot coming down and a very good lineup for this month. So stay tuned, and we will see you all next Monday.